And welcome to the iRacing Happy Hour, refreshed by Coca-Cola from the Charlotte ROVAL. I'm your host, Steve Letarte, with a little help from my old buddy Parker Kligerman. Parker, appreciate you jumping on board. I am excited for today's practice, and that's really what we're going to see today, right? We're going to see 3 Cup stars try to tackle this ROVAL in an hour-long practice.
Exactly, and they probably want it because the ROVAL is one of the toughest racetracks we go to all year. It's one of the most exciting racetracks, but it really mixes a street course with a road course with an oval all in one. And street courses are notoriously tough because when you go off the turn 1 and 2, 3 here at the ROVAL, the walls are on both sides. There's literally no room for error. So getting on somewhere like iRacing and getting to run laps where you can, crash the cars for cheap, I think that's a great thing. So I'm excited to see which one of these drivers can maybe show some speed, but overall use this to propel themselves into Sunday.
Well, you mentioned it, Parker. We're going to have 3 drivers take part tonight. The first, the driver of the number 96, Daniel Suarez, will be behind the wheel. The driver of the number 22, Joey Logano, and the driver of the number 43, Bubba Wallace. All 3 stars will be joining us. And I'm so thankful they're willing to do this publicly because we know all of these drivers in the entire field are running laps at the ROVAL, either in the manufacturer's sim or in iRacing, as you mentioned, to get in that rhythm. But these guys are willing to do it here live for the fans to see. We also have 3 of the iRacing eNASCAR Coca-Cola drivers taking part tonight. It's going to be interesting to compare the real-world drivers with the virtual pros. You see right here all the different people. You see Suarez, Logano. Logano is hard at it. I like the fight. Logano's spotter, TJ Majors, is going to take part. We have Jimmy Mullis. I see Blake Reynolds there at the bottom. I see Eric Smith in the bright red screen. That's a good-looking screen. And then we also have a Coke executive joining us today, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Chris is on board, as you can tell. I like the branding. You can tell the Coke guy has some great branding. Big supporter of motorsports. We have a big night ahead of us, Parker.
We do, and you mentioned it, being able to come on here and run laps because we know everyone's already going to do it. I'm glad they're doing it publicly. Look, if I'm going to the ROVAL right now, of course I'm going to go run laps on iRacing. Why not? I mean, it's one of the best ways I can just get my mind tuned into using the points around the racetrack, hitting the curbs, just getting in the flow of things, shifting, that sort of thing. Yes, you can use the manufacturer's simulator, but you're only going to get a couple hours in there, maybe a day at most. Why not use this as well just to keep your mind in the groove? So we know they were all going to do it. I'm glad these guys decided to do it publicly with us, and it's going to be fun to watch them hit some of these curves and, get the mistakes out of the way here before on Sunday.
Yeah, and while I'm thinking about it, we're going to talk to Chris Bigda, the director of motorsports at Coca-Cola Company, later in the show. But I want to thank Coca-Cola because you, Parker, and myself are both owners in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series. They've had a huge footprint in motorsports. I've made my entire living in motorsports, and brands like Coke that have continually supported the world of motorsports means a lot to me. And now they've moved into the world of esports. I think it's just a great partnership, and they really brought tonight forward to the fans.
They really have. And, when they came on earlier this year for the eNASCAR Series and became the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, that was a huge moment for iRacing, for eNASCAR, for esports, to see a brand like Coca-Cola that you've mentioned has supported motorsports for so long and been such an integral part of motorsports to come on and give this that validation, right, that they see value in what we're doing here in the virtual world. I think that was just awesome. So, it's cool to have them on board for this event here tonight, and it just seems like more and more Coca-Cola is investing in this sport because they see the value in it. And if you're a race fan out there, you have to be thankful for that because they're the ones that make this possible. And I think, we continually see the investments made and the value come out of it because or companies like Coca-Cola just enjoy it, right? And they make it more fun when they're here, and that's what we have here.
Well, I mentioned the 3 stars are going to be taking part. Well, one of them we're going to have join us right here. We're going to have a chat. Daniel Suarez, first of all, I want to thank you for chatting with the fans, but let's just talk about tonight. So much news in your world. We're going to get to all of that, but let's talk about tonight, the ROVAL this weekend, a little bit of iRacing practice. This should be fun.
That was actually just in the TRD simulator a couple of days ago, and it feels pretty different. So hopefully I get some good habits from this one.
Well, I want to talk about a bunch of things. One being your cool paint scheme. We're in the middle, actually, of Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th to October 15th. I actually had a chance to speak to Omar Amador on my podcast. I know you know Omar. He's going to host your virtual Daniel Amigos event this Sunday. I know this month is very important to you. But tell us about not just this month, but this great-looking Coca-Cola paint scheme you plan on running Sunday at the Roval.
That's right, Steve. Definitely, this week is it's a very exciting week for myself. I've been crazy busy in preparation for only this week. Starting with this very special paint scheme that I'm gonna have for this weekend. Obviously, it's a Coca-Cola car. But it was designed by a Mexican artist. Obviously, with a very Mexican style. It has a zarape, which is something that in Mexico they still use a lot, and it's something very authentic. And the whole top of the car is almost like it has a sarape. So it's extremely cool. Honestly, probably the best looking race car I ever had, and obviously it has to be a Coca-Cola race car. Coca-Cola, it's not surprising that they hit it out of the park. They always do. And this time, just amazing to put this paint scheme together, and also to have the Daniel's Amigos in a virtual way that is going to be a little bit different, but excited to do it.
Daniels, Parker, I know the Daniels Amigos, they usually make a lot of noise and make their presence known when they're at the racetrack, man. That's always awesome. And this scheme, I mean, it's a bright scheme. It really brings a lot of colors to the fold here for Coca-Cola schemes that we don't normally see, which is awesome. But, talk about what it means to be racing it at the Roval, at a road course, somewhere I feel like you have had a lot of success at road courses. You're very comfortable at those places and feel like maybe you can get a good run out of it.
Yeah, for sure, Parker. I grew up racing go-karts, and I grew up over in Mexico where, racing in ovals when you're a kid is not an option. We don't have ovals for go-karts. So I love road course racing. I grew up racing go-karts in Mexico, in the US, in Europe. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy that a lot. Go-karts are extremely different than stock cars, just a few pounds different. But I enjoy it so much, and really looking forward to getting the Robo. I enjoy the week and weekend that already we have a lot of going on. Enjoy the Penske, enjoy Coca-Cola, everything that they have done for me. They've been a huge partner of myself for a handful of years now, and I feel that something that is extremely important and valuable for myself is to do these kind of things. Not every sponsor go out there and do that extra mile like Coca-Cola does with myself to do a special paint scheme for this Hispanic Heritage Month with a special artist from Mexico, just for this race. So just feel very fortunate to have a great partner behind me.
Dan, you just mentioned it, Hispanic Heritage Month. As I mentioned, I spoke to Omar, and through our conversation, I did a lot of listening, and he really did a wonderful job of helping me see through his lens what it meant to see you be the first international-born driver to win a NASCAR championship. I'd like for you to hear it out of your own words. I know we've talked to you since then, but looking back, everything changes in time. What does it mean looking back that you were able to accomplish that at the top levels of NASCAR?
It feels extremely good. As you know, Steve, as a young kid in Mexico without having a racing background or having anything really, to come here and to be able to have an opportunity. I mean, just that by itself is huge, and then on top of that, being competitive and having a lot of support from NASCAR, from sponsors, and having a shot to win race and championship. That's something very special. I think that has been something very important of my journey. But I feel that honestly, it's just the beginning. I feel like I still have a long career ahead of me, and I'm really looking forward to do the same thing in the Cup Series.
Well, you mentioned a long career. The news came out this week. We're going to get into that later in the show, but let's get this whole practice started off. I'm going to let you do the honors. Why don't you roll off here and show us the virtual ROVAL racetrack? Parker, maybe you can help me out. I'm going to hand this over to my driver, Daniel. This is where I'm going to jump out and hand it over to the driver, Parker. Take us for a lap, Daniel. Show us around. Parker, let us know what he's working on.
Good move, Steve. I don't want to see you run around here. I know for a fact there would be too many walls, jumping out of the way, hopefully.
I know my limits, Parker. I know my limits. And really, this is the point of the track that I think is the biggest for lap time and racing. This backstretch chicane was changed. That's basically what you're looking at right here as we see Joey Logano roll out in the 22 car. When I think of the ROVAL, Parker, it's basically the infield, the oval, and a couple chicanes. I don't mean to make it that simple, but that's how I like to break it down in my head. As a crew chief, that's how I would break it down. Joey Logano here in the infield portion, the slower portion of the racetrack.
Man, that's good for you because I see 17 corners. So
I can't pick 17, so I'm not going to talk about that many.
We're not connected But you're correct, because you can't fix all of them, and that's what makes this play so tough to see. Suarez, just go a little wide. That is so easy to do there. So you come in, this is in the infield portion. That is one of the odder corner complexes because you have to roll a ton of speed. And this is a weird one. You come here, you go up a hill, then down, and then you're trying to go up onto the banking into what would be NASCAR 1, which is just one of the weirdest experiences. The right front of the car is just begging for mercy all the way through, and then eventually you finally get on the banking over here. And then right as you're going to get up to speed, you hit the brakes. You see Daniel's hard on the brakes right now into this backstretch chicane. There are those big curves. You didn't use them there, but later in the race, you start to see drivers get really aggressive with those. Then you try to get the power down. Now back in the NASCAR 3 and 4 in the ovals, we go on board into one of the craziest braking zones I think I've ever experienced, because now you start hitting the brakes on the banking, you come off the banking, it gets flat, down to second gear, and then you slam over these curves in the final chicane. That's 17 corners, Steve.
17 corners and not a lot of grip. Turn 1 right here can be very, very difficult. You see how easy it is to overdrive. If we jump back outside the race car, one thing I want to point out to everybody is the size of that rear spoiler. At Daytona, NASCAR gave these drivers full downforce and full power, and it was all about, they put that downforce on there really to slow the cars down on the long straightaways. But here at the ROVAL, that spoiler is now chopped down, the miniature spoiler, the low downforce package, and I think that's really going to affect it. Here's a great shot right here out the back of Bubba Wallace's car. You see just how small that rear spoiler is. That is going to make a major difference in the braking zones. If they take that braking, Parker, of Daytona, where you could attack the bus stop, and if you bring that same sort of mentality to the ROVAL, you are going to realize quickly how little downforce you have.
You'll be stricken with wheel lock. That's what it is. You'll be locked in.
Which is going to be a problem for the guy in front of you.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem, especially down that backstretch chicane. So they'll be hopping the rears all on board. Bubba Wallace getting all sideways there, up onto the banking. That is, Steve, it's one of the hardest sets of corners I've ever been through, because you go through so much undulation, you're staring at a wall, then you have to get the thing to continue to turn, which it doesn't want to do, and then get the power down onto a straightaway. It's just, this place really tests every facet of a driver's skill set on a road course.
So I mentioned that Bubba Wallace is here with his crew chief, Jerry Baxter's also in the sim working with his driver. We hopefully will be able to chat with him a little bit later on what he thinks is a carryover possibility from iRacing and what perhaps isn't. Esport Coca-Cola driver Jimmy Mullis will also be joining Bubba Wallace, so he'll have a whole team as well. This is the 22 of Joey Logano. Now he's gonna get a little loose right there, and I'm gonna talk to his spotter, TJ Majors, who I see laughing. TJ is a great iRacer in his own right, a very high I rating. I race with him on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, so I know that he's a pretty good iRacer. He's in there helping Joey Logano, as well as Blake Reynolds.
Good news is I got an hour to lay down the lap.
Driver. Maybe we could jump in and take a little chat with TJ and Joey.
Might be that tape I
harass
added.
them just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, TJ.
Oh, no.
Your man spun out, and I saw the laughter on the screen. Come on, man, you can't be laughing at your driver.
Which time are we talking about?
Oh, Joey, you're not going to let him get away with that, are you?
In this one case, yes, I am awful at iRacing. It's not my thing. I gotta feel the car, Steve. I don't feel it.
Well, that's what I'm going to say then, because I'm not very good at iRacing as well. But TJ, I'm going to brag on you for a minute. What are you, like top 10, top 15 iRating? I mean, you're one of the best to run in iRacing.
I haven't got that high. I got the #1 overall back in the day, but then I had kids, so that's it's hard to accomplish now. But we've raced together a lot, and I've got a lot of laps, so I enjoy it.
So I really want to talk to both of you guys here. We talk a lot about iRacing, laps, the rhythm. Joey, you're completely right. This is not real world. This is simulation. There's a lot of hand-eye, a lot of visual things, but you don't feel the car. You don't feel the tires. So it's easy for me to understand as a crew chief, TJ, what perhaps I would be looking for out of my driver at a road course like this. But as a spotter, do you use something like iRacing? Do you and Joey talk about, hey, man, this is an area where we're going to have to worry about being overtook? Is this a passing zone, not a passing zone? Does it help you, TJ, that you can get in there and run yourself?
Absolutely. I can get on there and see things that I might do. And talk to him about it too. Like I can see, I can tell when he overdrives and stuff. Like we started off the session, he was underdriving everything, and he laid down some pretty good laps. But then we're we're slowly building up here, and now we're overdriving a lot and stuff. But you can translate a lot of this stuff to the real life. Like, you can see it happening, but there's definitely an advantage, I think, scenarios that come up in iRacing that you can use to transfer to the real world stuff sometimes.
So talk about this track in general. One of the few road courses you can see the entire thing from one spot. So it's a one-spotter racetrack. Do you do the whole thing from the roof?
Yeah, I'll do the whole thing from the spotter stand. I like it like that. You don't like when you can't see your car. Watkins going, they get on the front stretch, and you don't see your car for a minute. I'm watching the race on the fan vision or the big screen behind the pit road there and wait for him to come back around. You don't like when you can't see your car as a spotter. So I really enjoy going to places like this, and it's really a challenging road course for these guys too. So they laid out a good lap there.
Time for the board.
So bragging out of Joey Logano. So Joey, you're not off the hook. 10th at both Roval races. Talk about consistency. Plus 21 above the cut line. You got to think going into this weekend that 10th would do it again. Is that the goal? I mean, no, the goal is always to win. But if you would take a 10th right now, would you be happy?
What's up, wrecking here?
That's okay. That's okay. You can talk. Talk to the fans for a minute, though.
Let me get out of the way here for a second. I'll talk to everyone. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if comfortable at 21 points. I would say it would be comfortable if I was sitting 5th in points with 21-point cushion. But because we're 8th in points right on that cut line with a 21-point cushion is a little bit unsettling. So all it takes is the 18, the 14, the 3, the 10 to win the race, and we're out. So we're racing to 88. Obviously, he's right in front of us, trying to gain points on him. He's only a couple points ahead of us. So we need to at least be ahead of that car to feel somewhat safe. But even 21 points, all those cars, well, at least 3 of them that are behind the cut line at this point, can get enough points to point their way in without winning. So I don't know if it's very settling, especially at the Roval where crazy things can happen. And I don't know if anyone's looked at the weather yet, but how about a rain race on a road course and a cutoff race?
I perhaps, as the TV broadcaster, may have looked at the rain, and I'll hate to say it to you, but I perhaps am cheering for rain just for some excitement. Joey, we're going to come back and talk to you some more, but I first wanted to thank you for taking part in this. I think it's great for the fans when a star like yourself will come in. I know, like you said, you don't claim to be the best iRacer, but you show what the program's all about and give the fans a first-hand look, so we appreciate it.
Oh, it is fun, and like TJ said, it helps a little bit and get yourself kind of tuned up in road course mode a little bit, knowing what corners come up, and it's really cool that Coca-Cola's come together to try to put something neat out for the fans here during the week.
All right, thanks, Joey. Well, my buddy Parker, I think, has jumped over. He's with Bubba Wallace, his crew chief, Jerry Baxter.
Oh.
There we go. All right, one lap wonder there.
So, guys, I got to interrupt you here. Bubba, you just threw down a lap.
That's a lot
there.
better.
120.1. That's a second faster than anyone else. You were pretty proud of that.
I was. I had my first one. I never hit anything, I don't think. Maybe I clipped the wall or the grass somewhere, and I ran a 20.3. So Jimmy and Jerry here got me hooked up, made some adjustments, go just a little bit faster.
And you just mentioned it. You got Jerry Baxter, the legend, here on TeamSpeak, Zoom. I mean, how did you pull that off?
He texted me earlier today. He's like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what Zoom is. Do I zoom in or zoom out? He was all confused. So we got him on TeamSpeak. This is incredible. I'm proud of him. It is past his bedtime, though. I do know that.
What do you think, Jerry? You having fun? Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, we don't got him on the voice.
He may have. Can you hear him, Jerry?
All I can hear is Bubba.
Oh, all he can hear is me. He says, how are you doing? Can you hear him, Parker?
I can hear him, yes.
Okay. He says, how are you doing, Jerry? Are you having fun?
I am having fun. This is a lot easier than it's going to be in real life.
This is the exact opposite for me. This is way harder than real life.
Well, one thing I did notice, Bubba, is that you are using the H pattern. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're the only one in here using the H pattern.
What are they using? Paddle shifters?
Shifter patterns.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I don't mess around. When I get on this, I like to have it somewhat relative here. I got a new wheel, new pedals. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're good.
So this is a different, you and I spent a couple late nights racing.
Oh yeah.
What do you feel like you would have done this already, I assume, going into Roval, no practice, right?
Yeah. I've jumped on here 2 weeks ago. and try to make some laps. And it's just so different. I mean, we talked about it earlier. The fixed setup was just a little bit free and kind of sliding around everywhere, and so it's just tough. But all in all, it's still good to put the track together.
You got your buddy Jimmy Mullis give you some tips on that setup as well?
Heck yeah, he's we had some laps where I was following him, he was following me, and we were trying to figure it out. If you hear me kind of panting in the background, I'm trying to lay down another burner. So
I'll just watch you for a second, maybe just commentate a little bit. I think that's the thing people don't realize about sim racing. So I'm curious for you. I feel like I work out more iRacing sometimes than I do in a real car.
Oh, no doubt. I'm surprised my steering wheels I haven't broken in half on here because I'm so tight and gripping, just so fierce on it. So it's definitely a lot more of a workout on the sim.
You got a major lap going here. I saw you roll all this speed down the backstretch chicane. Got the power
Parker,
down.
get off the guy's back. He's trying to put a lap down, and you're over here ignoring him.
I'm like,
Jeez, it scared me.
He had to listen to me.
It's all right. Hey, we're good. We're good. Shows I can multitask, fellas. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I cannot multitask. I had a...
We stopped talking. Maybe he was better off with a little chat in his ear.
No doubt. I was going to run about a 70 there. 1970. Ah! Latart, what's up?
Bubba, man, thanks for doing this. It's so much fun. I love seeing my man Jerry on here. This is spectacular. A little old school crew chief with a little iRacing going on here. I just want to jump on here, man, and say, first of all, thank you. The fans, this is like nothing else, right? You're letting the fans see a little bit on how you prep and how you prepare, what kind of fun you have. And yes, iRacing's a workout. That's why I stick to 30-lap features. Anything over 30 laps, I'm falling out of the seat.
Oh, I'm definitely sweating. I should have done what's the new trend? How I started and how it's going. I should have done a dry T-shirt to what it is right now because it is soaked.
All right, well, you're top of the board. We're going to come back in. Still 47 minutes left. We'll come back in and check on you a little bit later, man.
Okay.
Take you a little break. Get you a cold Coke. You don't have to work the whole time. Come
Oh,
on,
that's-
Jerry.
that's
Let the man
nice.
park in the garage for a minute.
Go to Sandy.
Parker, that was some fun times right there riding along with Bubba.
I like he's got a new wheel, new pedals, everything. He said he's been sprucing up his iRacing setup there, so he's digging too. You said it. He's working hard. He's
So
going
listen,
back.
I won't lie. Quarantine, I got new wheel. I got a couple extra screens from Asus. I got all dialed in with a triple screen. None of it made me run faster, but I feel good. I mean, my setup looks like I should run fast.
So if we're talking like about equipment, early this year for the Rolex 24, I bought the most expensive piece of sim equipment I've ever gotten. It's the pedals. Got the hydraulic brake. I'm expecting, you know, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get in there the next time. I'm going to lap the field. Like, that's been the one thing holding me back from being just the fastest iRacer on the planet. And I'll say it's more fun and more realistic. I don't think I'm any faster.
No, I'm not. I stole. I didn't steal. I was given a set of pedals lightweight from my old buddy Dale Jr. And it didn't help me any. Look at this right here, though. They aren't smiling. You notice that was funny for the first 10 minutes, but now that we have lap time and the man of the 43 is the fastest, you see that there's no more smiles. We're going to see right here Suarez, see if he can improve his time. We're riding on board with Suarez, looking out the front windshield at Joey Logano entering down into turn one. Oh, boy.
Oh, that's why. All right, so that's so easy to do. Full disclosure, in the 96 car that Suarez is driving right now, last year in practice, third lap, I hit that wall and had to go to a backup car.
He didn't brush it, folks. He hit it.
I hit it. See, you
Oh, the curbing.
Oh.
All right, so right there, left rear tire over the painted curb, lost the car. That's difficult. Talk about how much more difficult that will be if we see rain.
So, well, take everything you just saw and then maximize it, or, you know, I guess times it by 10, because as we see Logano spinning out as well. What happens in rain racing is you want to get away from the actual line. You want to get away from the racing line because that has been grooved in with rubber. It's been rubbed down. Here's Suarez going off into turn one. And just locking up the left brake, so easy to overspeed. You get sucked into that corner because there's so little reference to your speed. And then as we go off into turns 3 here and 4.
I love this turn complex right here.
Oh, it is.
Just a little high.
Yep. Oh, there's that curb. So curbs don't have grip because they're painted, right? The paint is slippery. Well, when you add rain, that paint becomes like ice. And so you got to avoid it. Not only are you trying to get offline, so the ROVAL, if we're talking about rain this weekend, it is going to be one of the slickest racetracks I believe we've ever experienced as we see Logano once again replay of his little spin there.
Well, and you mentioned rain. If anybody's watched the news, it's Hurricane Delta. We wish everybody in its path all the safety, and hopefully they can avoid as much damage as possible. But the remnants of that hurricane is supposed to come into the States and head over to the East Coast. So the forecast is changing dramatically as that storm moves, but the talk is that we are going to get some remnants, some rain in North Carolina on Sunday. We will see if that happens as we see Joey Logano climb the banking. This, I think, is his outlap, though.
Well, you might have had to get a new vehicle.
You know, that's the best part about iRacing is every time I go, whoops, I just hit escape and get me a new vehicle.
Oh, yeah. I could have used that about, 20 times my career. Say, hey, here's the reset button. All right, I get to erase all the terrible mistakes I just made. That'd be great. We got, I know we're not, you said it. It wasn't that intense for the first, 10 minutes. Then we put the lap times up there.
Oh, yeah.
You got Bubba Wallace, basically 9/10 faster, right, than Joe Logano. And so now we're probably going to see Joe Logano hit laps hard until he at least gets closer to Bubba Wallace.
Well, so we're riding on board with Joe Logano, but I get to cheat, and I can see his face, and he is not having any smiles. He is serious as can be. It looked like he clipped the wall a little bit there in turn 2. Pretty good so far through the infield. You know what happens to me is in iRacing, sometimes you can kind of have the plus or minus on the screen, you know, your live lap time, and then every time that thing starts to go green, I start making mistakes.
Well, you get the old red mist from the green bar.
Oh, it happens. It happens. Oh, boy.
Oh, sideways.
This is where he's had trouble.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
I wouldn't put smooth next to this lap. It could be fast, but I'm not going to put smooth next to it.
Well, see, the thing is, this place, you start to heat up those rear tires. I'll be interested to see down here into the chicane. If you can get it turned in, once you start heating up those rear tires, it makes it really hard to get the power down. Oh, I did nicely. Did really nicely. So,
all right, well, let's see. 121.09, right at the top of your screen. You see quickest right now, Wallace at a 120.16, Logano at a 121.09. Now, it's not a competition, it's practice, but everything's a competition with these guys, so they know. They're looking up there, picking up a lot of curbing. We'll see if he can improve. We'll only see a new lap time if it's better. Oh, boy. Sadness out of the 22 camp.
It's going to be tough to go faster on the second lap. You've really heated up those rears. Oh! Lost it again. That curb. Evil. You don't want to hit those curbs. Turn 4 curb, that one is mean.
TJ, your man is still overdriving it, it appears.
100%. 100%. He won't listen to my changes right now, and I know he's overdriving it, so.
All right, so let's have a chat about the ROVAL and spotting the ROVAL. You talk about how you like it because you can see the whole thing. You've made some laps. We've gone through that conversation. But talk about something as simple as right side and left side. Is it still inside and outside and the driver goes with the corners? Is it passenger? Is it driver's side? How do you communicate? I know. I listened to you for years. I could listen to you spot and basically picture the race in my head. But tell the fans at home, when you're talking to Joey, how do you communicate the differences?
We still use inside and outside for per corner. And, you know, if we're going into watching Joey right now, he's making a right-hander. If someone was on his right-hand side, I would call inside through that whole corner. And he just, you have a feel for the flow right then. You know, still there, still over there. He knows where that guy is, you know. And then, you know, in the middle, 3 wide, he knows he's got a guy on both sides and stuff. But it's per corner, really, inside, outside. You know, just saying, like, saying driver's left, driver's right just turns into too much. You know me, I like to say a lot of words in a really short period of time, so I can't be saying this driver's left, driver's right, you know, right side. I gotta say inside or outside.
TJ, I'm actually, you mentioned it, you are one of the most incredible spotters at being able to paint a picture. And like in super speedways, you fit an amazing amount of words in a very short period of time. So when you go to a road course though, and we've seen, especially on the restarts, the ROVAL, I remember last year, it's 2-3 wide. There's cars all over the place. I mean, do you try to talk less because he's doing so much in there, or do you just do your normal thing?
No, I've had to retrain myself a few times with Joey after leaving Dale Jr. Dale Jr. didn't like any talking in the corners, anything like that. Joey likes the more the better. He can just process a lot of information at one time, and he likes to, I don't know how, but he can use all the info that I'm giving him, and he just continues to paint that picture through all the corners and everything. There was times where I just wouldn't talk in the corners because I didn't think that was what they wanted to hear, but he wants to hear how many car lengths back, what lane they're in. Everything's so aero dependent now. Even putting a guy in a little bit dirtier wake, helps you keep your position a little, and that's what a lot of this racing is. But even here at the ROVAL in a road course, you're trying to give as much info as possible, man, and he likes it, so I just keep doing it.
So that's interesting because he wants all that info. So one of the things you just mentioned about talking about him iRacing years, he's overdriving it, right? How often, because at a road course, you guys as spotters can see things occasionally, be that someone's driving in further into the corner, making later, especially at the ROVAL, you can see the whole thing. How often are you sort of playing a little bit of coach as well? Like, hey, man, this is what I'm seeing off in the chicane, or we could do this differently. How often does that hop up?
I mean, I think it comes up a lot more than what people think. You can't be afraid to tell the guy when you see him. A lot of guys won't. A lot of guys are probably just don't want to tell us. How do you tell how do you tell a guy like Joey, hey, back your corner up a little bit, being as accomplished as he is and stuff like that. But, if you see it, you got to say it. And, oh, that's bad.
Oh, no. You might want to comment on not hitting that
He's going to want to back your corner up there maybe a little
Parker,
bit.
we better let him go. I think he needs to go have a little chat with his man.
I think, but you got to tell them, man. If you see it, don't be afraid to tell these guys because you're there to help, man. And good spotters are helpful, helpful devices for the drivers. And if you see it, man, you got to tell the driver.
I hear you, definitely. Well, I think you definitely have to get over there and help him out a little bit. So we'll let you go. But Steve, I think that's one of the impressive things about someone like Joe Logano is being able to take in all that info. I know personally that's how I like it. So that makes me feel good at least about myself that some other drivers like as well.
Yeah, all the good ones. They use every tool available as we ride on board with Daniel Suarez. 36 minutes left in practice. Bubba Wallace in the 119s now. Good lap by Bubba Wallace. Joe Logano second, Suarez third. You're watching iRacing Happy Hour, refreshed by Coca-Cola from the ROVAL.
For those living together and those living apart. For classmates, graduates, and teachers making the best of it. For the restaurants delivering to our doorsteps. For the frontline workers putting it on the line every single day. For this great nation determined to be stronger on the other side. Thanks to all of you, we'll be together again.
You want playoff madness? Well, step right up for the ROVAL.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
It's a 750 horsepower win or go home thrill ride. A brake-locking, tire-smoking 17-turn Carnival Midway. You cannot win the championship here, but you can surely and spectacularly lose it.
I am the future, but I am happening right here, right now. I am where names you know become names you'll remember forever.
1898 behind 898.
Names etched in metal, in memory. What name will we speak of long after this? I am going to show you. I am the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Names are made here.
For the iRacing Virtual Happy Hour presented by Coca-Cola. As I mentioned it on the way to break, we had a new lap time thrown down, a 1:19, Parker. We saw Bubba break that 120 barrier and get down into the 119s.
We got some extra cameras here. I can see him sweating, laughing. He's literally pulling the sweat back from his face from putting down that lap. He was trying hard. You could see it. He wanted to get down below that 120, threw down a heater here in the 119s. That's quick, man. I practiced a little bit before this. I didn't get to the 119s.
Well, I'm not even going to claim. Well, I'm not going to tell you the last time I get to. It's not worth even discussing. But
can we fit that whole thing on the timing scoring, or do we need to go to another set of?
Well, it's just you have to invite the right people in the race with you. Like you wouldn't be invited, nor would TJ, nor would anybody who's on track here today.
Your skill level.
Well, I mentioned it. We have some Coca-Cola eNASCAR drivers on board today. We have some NASCAR Cup drivers taking part. We have executive from Coca-Cola we're going to talk to a little bit later. But we also had a chance a minute ago to talk to Greg Walter, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, Greg, tell us about the history of the ROVAL project and how you think this has affected the 2021 NASCAR schedule.
So the idea for the ROVAL came from our CEO, Marcus Smith. Marcus was looking at the infield and realized that something new needed to be added to the playoffs. And the one thing that was missing, the one style of racing, the one track shape that was missing was a road course. Now, we've had a legacy of road course racing in the infield here. He thought it'd be a great time to bring that back. So the idea for the ROVAL, how we put all that together, was the consulting with road course racers from around the world, and then the success of that, the success that we had in 2018, I think made everyone realize what kind of racing was to be enjoyed by our fans. And I think what you see in 2021 is all these additional road courses. When you had like Indianapolis, Road America, all these other road courses being added to the schedule, Circuit of the Americas, is part of that reinventing yourself for the fans and what the fans enjoy.
Well, we know what the fans enjoy is some iRacing. Explain CMS's involvement with iRacing.
So it's really interesting how iRacing has changed that landscape. We always knew that the simulation aspect of the track, how important that was. Every time we make modifications to the track, that people want to come out, iRacing wants to come out and model it because it's so important to that ecosystem. So to have the ability to go out and drive the track, every bump, every turn, every characteristics and nuance of the track is represented there. And not only for the professional drivers, but anybody who wants to get into racing itself and experience firsthand what our professional driver experiences here on the track itself.
Well, we're watching the iRacing Happy Hour presented by Coca-Cola. So you guys have a huge relationship. You have the Coca-Cola 600. Explain next year's Coca-Cola 600 and the opportunity you guys have for the fans.
So if fans go to our Twitter page and look online, we're giving away some great prize packs. And all they have to do is to like the post and to retweet. And we're going to give fans a chance, a certain number of them, a chance to win a prize pack for the Coca-Cola 600. And then actually, some fans are going to win the chance to come to the race in 2021. We're really excited about that.
Well, I want to thank Greg for joining us. Greg Walter, once again, is the EVP and General Manager of Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is the ROVAL, which is what we're watching as we see Joey Logano still struggling. I'd like to take a moment, too, to thank Greg. I've been basically based out of Charlotte Motor Speedway for all of these NASCAR races. They've really extended their arms to us and done everything they could to try to help us out, and that is not your eyes deceiving you. There is a car behind the 96 of Suarez. I believe it is one of the eNASCAR Coke regulars out there. You have Eric Smith, who normally Eric Smith, who drives for Jim Beaver Esports, I believe.
Man, I love that shot because you can see Suarez trying to get the power down, right, off turn 4. He just gets that left rear a little bit in the grass. It starts to kick up the grass. That's how realistic iRacing is. And then you see the car kick sideways because that left rear has way less grip than the right rear, just like you'd have in real life. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, this is the view I like right here. This is right where I overdrive the entry. I'm going to gain. Let's see.
Right now. Oh, Eric, deep on the brakes.
Although I'll give Suarez good credit. Yep. Nice exit of the corner.
Eric pays for it on the exit there. Sometimes you get it all on the entry, you're going to give it right back on the exit. So now he's lost all that time to Suarez in front of him. Here we go again.
Oh, he's not going to give as much backup on exit that time, though. Nice job getting to the apex of both corners right there.
Daniel's actually been increasing, getting faster here throughout this session. He was in the 23s, down to a 21.7. He's about 0.6 behind Logano. So he's creeping up on Joey. Joey's been out there overdriving, spinning out. You might want to look at his beer. Daniel Suarez will be right there.
How about Bubba Wallace? A 1:19.5 as another improvement on lap time.
He's been real focused. That's the way to put it.
Oh, that was, yep, very nice of Smith letting him go back out. We're on board right here. I believe this is Logano's camera. Oh, no. This is not the Logano camera. This is Blake Reynolds. This is the shot out of Blake Reynolds, the driver for Team Dillon Esport. I'm not sure how we got Blake to help Joey Logano, a Team Dillon guy himself. I think it has something to do with his wonderful sponsor, Coca-Cola, that we see on the hood every time he runs in the eNASCAR Series. Blake, pretty impressive driver himself.
He drives that wonderful looking 3 in the NASCAR Series. Just getting a lot of speed down here into the chicane. Blake, one of those drivers, is using an H pattern you see there. Left side of the screen.
To the H pattern.
I love it. I love it. That's the way to do it. If you're going to do it for real. Joey up there on the top using the shifter paddles, which you can do. We're not going to put him down for that, but you can't do that in some ways. I just like the H pattern because I think it just feels real. So.
Well, listen, and a shameless plug. Oh, Joey. I was going to say a shameless plug, Parker. You and I, next Tuesday night, we will have the eNASCAR Series from the ROVAL. We'll be covering that race as well. The playoffs have started in that series. We'll see who can advance.
I was distracted here for a second watching.
I saw that. I saw that.
I just got mesmerized by this camera of Suarez in the back there trying to gain on the brakes. I just think that looks so good. I love these shots.
Great looking scheme, too. Great looking scheme. We talked to Daniel about that earlier. All right, this is the Jimmy Johnson moment. We've all seen the highlight, the crossover that doesn't work. Let's see if Suarez, nope, he won't chase him in there.
Easy to do. You can get tricked into thinking you almost get optimistic, especially down here into turn 1. So we'll see. We're looking back at Suarez. Oh, he's going to gain. Can he hold that to the center? He can. That was good. That's a solid corner. It's a little bit on exit, but man, there's just corners around here that trick you. Like you get this idea that, oh, I can just roll a little bit more speed. I can roll a little bit more speed. I know it. And then you do it, and the next time you do it, you're like, oh, no, that was too much. That was too much. It's just such a fine line around this racetrack that I don't know if I've experienced at many ovals or road courses. It's just a place that for whatever reason is deceiving to you, and you just have to sort of find that, wall there. That's not deceiving. He got that one.
We got a lot of action on the track. As I mentioned earlier, we have Chris Bigda, Director of Motorsports at the Coca-Cola Company, joining us here today as well. Hope we're going to have a chance to talk to him. We talked to Greg Walter from Charlotte Motor Speedway. These are the executives that put their effort into the iRacing series, makes all this possible. As we see right here, the Coke Energy cars of Jimmy Mullis and Bubba Wallace. But I'm going to tell you, that Jimmy Mullis car looks good, and it is fast. He has won at New Hampshire and Vegas already this year in the eNASCAR Series, but Bubba is putting the heat on.
These are very closely aligned, these schemes. I love them. I think these are some of those beautiful schemes in all of motorsports right now, these Coca-Cola Energy schemes. I actually have tried this Coca-Cola Energy, by the way. Very impressive. It's I actually enjoyed it very much, using it on a long drive back from, I believe it was Darlington. Anyway, but these two, I mean, this is a battle royale right here, right? You got Bubba Wallace, who's been set fast lap times. You get Jimmy Mullis, who's got all the iRacing experience, a winner at the top level of iRacing, going at it.
And I'm going to tell you, old Jimmy Mullis looks pretty calm. Bubba is working. Look at the different setups, though. Look how close the wheel is. I know you can barely see it, but how close the wheel is to Jimmy versus Bubba with the arms outstretched.
And it's just, you see Jimmy Mullis there using H pattern. Bubba is as well. It's, that's just that preference. We see it in real life, right? You got guys that have the wheel, all the way up in their chest. You got guys that have it way far out. I think Chase Elliott's one of those ones that has it really far out. You got Brad Keselowski. Even Bubba Wallace has an interesting driving style. It's a little different than what we see here in the sim in real life, where his wheel is a little higher, a little closer to him. So it's whatever works for you, right? See, there's no right way. It's just, hey, whatever you feel most comfortable doing, as long as you can turn that wheel correctly and get it all crossed up. Bubba
Well,
laughs it off.
you did see the Mullis lap time, though, right? 1:19.38.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah, right there. Or 3.5, excuse me. 1:19.35.
Got him. Got him. It is tightening up. Reynolds there up to 4th. The times are compressing a little bit. Let's just listen. Just watch this for a moment.
Ooh, that's what happens when you miss the corners. All right. Well, we talked to Greg Walter earlier, and we've mentioned Coca-Cola. I don't know how many times in this broadcast because this is the iRacing Happy Hour refreshed by Coca-Cola. So I think we might as well bring the man in himself, Chris Bigda, the director of motorsports at the Coca-Cola Company from down in Atlanta, the home base of Coca-Cola. Chris, man, thanks for joining us. Oh, first rule, Chris, of the team speak. You got to unmute us. You got to unmute yourself. See, this is the advantage that Parker and I have had of doing these broadcasts is you got to hit the X up at the top and get yourself opened up. Parker, this was us week 1. We know better.
I know. We were hitting buttons all over the place.
We were.
Chris, we're gonna get you there. We got to talk you through this. That X at the top. If you're seeing that, we're not gonna hear you.
Oh, come on. You got to fix this, Parker. You're in charge.
I feel like I've taken over. Here.
Oh, we're good now, Chris.
We're good
Chris,
now.
you know what?
Hey.
I'm not going to make fun of you because that was the first 3 or 4 iRacing broadcasts I did on TeamSpeak. So I'm going to start this all over again. Chris Bigda, Director of Motorsports at the Coca-Cola Company, which is great because I stumbled through it the first time. So this was an official introduction. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for everything Coke does for the sport.
Well, Steve, Parker, glad to be here. I can't take my eyes off the screen right now. This is incredible racing, and this is exactly what our vision was, to merge real-life racing and the iRacing teams together.
Hey, Chris, that's really is directly where I want to go. We have seen Coca-Cola be involved in NASCAR as long as I can remember. And here recently, we have seen a huge footprint in the esports side, specifically with iRacing. You now sponsor the eNASCAR Series. You're sponsoring a bunch of cars. You sponsored this event tonight. Talk about the shift and the inclusion in the iRacing Series.
Well, Steve, you said it. Coca-Cola Company's been a long-standing partner and sponsor of NASCAR, as well as Olympics, World Cup, and several other major sports in America. And for us, esports was the next evolution to kind of look at and draw fans in from young and old and recruit kind of the next generation of drinkers for Coca-Cola. And just seeing the broadcast and the amount of chatter, I think we're doing our job tonight.
Well, I won't lie, I'm jealous of your product because I had the small one. It didn't quite last my hour long. It is exciting. So serious question now. I love iRacing. I own a race team that runs in the eNASCAR Series. I'm awful. I'm an awful iRacer. I can admit it. I like to have fun with my friends. Have you given it a go yet? Have you logged in and run some laps, and how do you stack up?
So, Steve, I grew up. This was the first game that I got into. And
I love that.
I still own it. And to me, that was how I really got into NASCAR, because I loved watching it on TV. I went to races, but outside of that, I loved getting on the simulation, driving, and being my own crew chief.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Steve Myers from iRacing is going to love to see that held up. You're going right back to his roots. Parker, you're the pro iRacer. I'm going to let you take over right here. You got to help coach him up. I think you should go in there and give him, show him around this place.
I mean, if he's got NR 2003, he's right in line with the OGs of the sim racing world, I have to say, Chris. That's awesome to see. But, Chris, I'm curious. I see that banner behind you, the Coca-Cola 600. This is the ROVAL. What has Charlotte Motor Speedway meant to Coca-Cola and you guys, and why have you guys supported this speedway for so long and what the activities here.
Yeah, thanks, Parker. The team from Charlotte Motor Speedway and Speedway Motorsports are incredible partners to NASCAR. The banners behind me represent our 2 entitlement races, the Coca-Cola 600 and the Coke Zero Sugar 400. So for us, Charlotte Motor Speedway and the ROVAL is a great event. We have the Coca-Cola 600, so we look to Charlotte Motor Speedway as another partner to see the iRacing and both real life come to life. So the ROVAL this weekend, great that it's in the playoffs. We have 3 drivers in the Coca-Cola racing family, Joey Logano, Austin Dillon, and Denny Hamlin, who are still competing for a championship.
Awesome. And you mentioned you got all these Coca-Cola drivers, Coca-Cola cars. I mean, I don't want you to pick a favorite, but, you got a bunch of different schemes out here. They're all very beautiful. If you had to lean towards one, you say, hey, man, that one really pops to me. Can you pick one?
I can't. I'll say the same thing I do about our Coca-Cola racing family. We love all of our drivers, and we love all of our paint schemes.
That's a good answer, I have to say. It's Steve. I don't know if we. Oh wow, I'm sorry. I'm watching Suarez here. You got real sideways there, but I wasn't gonna put you on the spot, make you pick one. But all right, if you can't pick one of those, we're looking. I know the times don't matter here. It's just practice, but anyone catch your eye speed wise?
I can't wait to see this carry over into Sunday. They are laying down some incredible times, and I love the rivalry like Jimmy and Bubba are doing. He is really working it. I can see him on TV. Daniel's working really hard, and the intensity between the drivers of Daniel, Joey, and Bubba is amazing to look at right now. You can't say that this is an iRacing simulation. This feels like the real thing.
Chris, listen, I'm going to apologize for Parker. He's not a parent. He should know better. You can't pick between your children. You can't pick between which paint scheme's the best. Come on, Parker. You got to know better than that.
Maybe.
So, listen, I will ask, though, because it's a paint scheme thing, let's talk about Coca-Cola and their enormous reach. It's not just NASCAR. It's not just the Coke 600. It's just not the Coke Zero Sugar 400, which, by the way, unbelievable end of the regular season. My mind is still spinning from that race. But you have that unbelievable scheme on Daniel Suarez's car. We know about the Daniel Amigos. You've been a huge partner. Talk about the true international reach of the brand.
Oh, that's the beauty of being a global company. Coca-Cola is the second most recognized icon in the world. Besides hello, Coca-Cola is the next word that is spoken in all the countries in the world. So when you have a company of that scale and that size, the idea of being and pulling in as much international appeal and draw to this sport is possible. So we look forward to where NASCAR is going with this sport and bringing in drivers like Daniel Suarez.
It's been an amazing year. This has been an amazing event. Chris, I want to thank you for joining us. And don't worry, I'm going to throw a little invite to you after we're done here. You could run in the league with me, Tim Duggar, some other non-racing folks. It's a fun racing league. Nothing like these guys are doing or Parker. It's for us amateurs. It's a great time.
Well, that sounds like just my speed. Thanks for having me. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the race.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your race. Enjoy a Coke. Chris Bigda, the director of motorsports at the Coca-Cola Company, down in the home base of Coca-Cola in Atlanta, Georgia. That's right. He has a full one. I need a full one. Absolutely. It's been a great time so far. 15 minutes left. Joey Logano, you see on the screen. Suarez, some other names you may not recognize. That's Jimmy Mullis, an eNASCAR driver. Bubba Wallace, the NASCAR Cup Series star. Joey Logano, a Cup Series star. Reynolds at the top of your screen is Blake Reynolds, drives for Team Dillon Esports. Daniel Suarez, the NASCAR star. And then Eric Smith, who drives from Jim Beaver Esports. So a variety. I continue to skip this, but Jimmy Mullis drives for Richmond Esports. So some esport teams represented. And I love to see the traffic, Parker. Now we start to see 2-3 cars together. Gives you kind of an idea of the accordion that ROVAL presents.
It does, and it shows you how tough it is to pass around here. Oh, kind of right into the back bumper of Daniel Suarez. I like that. So you will see that in real life as well, because that is the hardest braking zone on the ROVAL, and you go from the highest speed to the lowest speed. And so a lot of times you might find your front bumper and the rear bumper of someone else. That's just normal. But I like seeing these guys race around. Oh, yeah, it gets tight. It's so hard to pass. you can see why this place, you get done with the race and every car has the fenders beat off it. It's a very physical racetrack.
I get mesmerized. I'm a race fan. I could ride on board all day. The infield section right here, slower, low grip, very slick. Well, and there you go. Bubba Wallace, contact with Daniel Suarez. Logano says, this is my chance. I'm going to attack this corner. Uh-oh. Impressive.
Side by side. Oh, a little bit more contact there. That's the only way I know how to make a pass.
Look at the smiles.
Yeah.
Joey Logano is smiling like, I don't know if he's going to dump me. I don't know if he's going to wreck me. This is awesome.
Oh, they're getting into each other. I'm just going to say, I may have used that move, or both of these moves, with the bumper in every pass I made last year. So, locking the brakes. This is just, it's a tight place to race. But you see those smiles? It's kind of the same thing in real life. You can't believe you race around this tight place. It's a lot of fun. And you find yourself getting into each other a little bit and thinking, it's not too bad. It doesn't hurt it too much.
When a race car driver says it doesn't hurt it too much, I don't believe him.
Well, hey, as long as I keep up the lap time,
And you saw right there just how big those curbs are, and that's real. That's how big those blue turtles are. It's an interesting invention. The first time I saw them, I thought they were silly, but then I have seen races at the tracks like the Roval. Talk about track limits. Don't get me started about track limits. We just had track limits come into question.
Oh, no. We're all over the place.
They are. We just had track limits come into question at Talladega with the double yellow line rule, and that's what basically NASCAR created, was those bright blue turtles to enforce track limits at the Roval. And I'll have to say, I thought they were going to be a major issue, but both races so far they haven't been. It's kept everybody going the right direction.
You know what's crazy about those is I thought the same way. When I went and looked at those the first time, I remember you, me, a bunch of the NBC folks got taken around the Roval right before the first race, and we got a tour and got to get up close to those curves, and I looked at those things and thought, no way is this ever going to work. And then we saw the race, and it was no problem, and then I actually got to drive it last year and hit those curves and thought, man, they're not too bad. They're soft in terms of the way the race car accepts it. And you have to be smart about when you use them and what points of a run and in the race when you use them, but you can use them. They're not completely destroying the race cars, and I like them. I think it's a cool way to enforce, as you put it, track limits without having to enforce track limits.
Look at this right here. Look at this action. We're on board with Bubba Wallace. He's trying to put the block on Logano. Logano with a big grin says, I'm coming through. This isn't too wide, boys. This isn't too wide.
Doesn't work through here. Oh! Sideways.
Jimmy Mullis is like, where am I going? High, low. They're 3 wide in front of me.
This would be a spotter's nightmare right here. If we had TJ Majors trying to spot these cars, especially these Coca-Cola Energy cars.
Good-looking cars, but they're twins for sure.
That would not be fun.
So this is the first thing that helps me. When I go to a new track, when we talk about, I don't claim to be a race car driver, but I get out there and chase TJ Majors or other guys around there, and it kind of gives me the idea of the flow of the track, where I need to be lifting. As you see, Suarez says, Logano, you're lifted too early. I'm coming through.
Yeah, he was taking advantage. But I know where you're going with it, right? You use iRacing, and you do it because you said it. You put, I'm sorry. If you're gonna, all right, everything I just said about the turtles, if you're gonna hit it like Bubba just did into that corner, yeah, it's gonna affect the race car like you just saw.
But see right here about this, I love you know what I love? They're back to smiling. When they were chasing lap times, they're getting a little too serious. Now this seems like a little bit more fun to me.
It is. This is like, so I don't know if you got some sim racers out there watching that have probably at some point with their friends, you go somewhere, you're going to get your cars faster, work on a setup, you pound around for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it gets later at night, and by the 3rd hour, all you're doing is just running into each other, racing, pretending it's the last 3 laps of the race. And, I mean, that's just some of the fun with iRacing, sim racing, is that you can do that, right? You can just pound laps and go out there and have fictional races as much as your heart desires. And I've always enjoyed doing that, like they're doing now.
Feelings can get hurt, but cars don't. That's the beauty of iRacing. I have had hurt feelings, but you just hit escape and you get brand new equipment. I love this shot of the front bumper. It's just such a great shot of the car working.
Oh, I like seeing how sideways they get. It's hard to put over 750 horsepower down, you know?
And remind everybody, we mentioned that these cars are full horsepower, and unlike the Daytona road course, low downforce. So you see that little spoiler on Daniel Suarez's car in front right there. That makes a difference. Not as much perhaps through the infield where they're going slow, but down here into the braking zones, that lack of downforce is going to be a big difference for these cars.
It's going to be huge. You're not going to have that safety net that you have. It's not going to have the same braking ability. It's not going to slow on the throttle as much. So all those things add up, and it just becomes more difficult. You slide around more. You do more of what you saw Daniel do there, which is just sort of overcook the corner, and it's just you have to adjust. And it's a tough thing to do. And, you know, a great way to do it is using what they're doing now, which is iRacing, if you're not going to have practice.
This is an area that if we do get rain, I think is going to be interesting because you come off the banking onto this flat section. Where will the water be standing? How much will it puddle? That could be a very low grip corner.
That for sure. Down here into turn one, you know, same thing. You know, where will the water sort of end up? You know, there's so much for being a roval per se, right? Where it's mixed into an oval. There is so much elevation change. There's so much banking in all these different corners that it's really going to be interesting to see where that water does end up, where the drainage areas are that Charlotte Motor Speedway has put in. But it's there's no doubt it's just going to be a place that all these curbs and these beautiful blue lines and all the beautiful paint that you see on the outside of these corners, you're just going to want to avoid that. So this one right here, going over those blue lines, I don't know what you're going to do in the rain because those will be like hitting just little patches of ice.
Well, that's my big question. So this backstretch chicane, the line to exit is through the paint. I mean, the line to exit. So you turn in here, you can avoid the paint, you can avoid the turtles, you can make a little bit wider exit. I'm talking if it was wet. But then right here, well, you're not going to turn back to the right. I guess this is what you're going to do is be up here.
Yeah, I mean, Logano did that on cue. Did you have him set that up?
I did. He got loose out of that corner and climbed the banking just to show us what the rain line would be. Unfortunately for Joey, that means he's not in the dry line.
But that was perfect. That was exactly. Oh no! Oh wow! We're in the pit lane here a little hard.
Well, you got to practice pit in.
Yeah, just overcooked it by about 150 miles an hour. But the going over that paint, what he did there, that's what you're going to do. You know, even sometimes in the rain, you'll go to certain corners at tracks and just be crawling, and you're thinking, "There's no way I'm fast." And then, sure enough, you complete the lap, and your crew chief comes on and says, "Hey, man, great lap. That was fast. You know, you're faster by a second than everyone else." So that's just rain racing is all about finding grip, just wherever you can find it.
All right, as we see the three eNASCAR drivers roll out, we are joined by the three stars. We got Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Joey Logano. Was that as much fun as it looked, guys? Because you guys were grinding out there.
I'm having fun. Bubba's a little faster, is what I've kind of figured out. But if you put the pressure on him a little bit, he makes the mistakes. And if I'm in the lead, I spin out a lot.
So it's just as soon as whoever puts the most pressure on each other, that's who's gonna spin.
That's pretty much it. Yes.
and then there's Suarez.
Hey, I'm gonna wreck both of you.
Are you? Oh, look!
Do we wait on him? I guess we wait on him.
I guess so.
Hey, but what are we gonna do?
I don't know. What are we doing?
We're waiting for you.
No, I know, but after that, what?
Where's the other?
Pros.
Yeah, that's right. The other three pros are out there putting on a heck of a race. It's worth watching as they climb into the infield. These guys, Joe, you talked about it. iRacing is very different, but just how good are these guys that race in the eNASCAR series?
It's funny you call them the pros.
Well, in iRacing, they're the pros.
We're supposed to be pros.
Yeah.
Now let's be clear. I'm going to label it clearly. In iRacing, they're the pros. But when we get out of the virtual speedway, you three are the pros.
Hey, Steve, that's very clear. Bubba Wallace is the faster guy from the three of us. You check Sunday what is going to happen.
Here we go. I'm racing with him.
Oh my God, that's pretty wide. Jeez, I get out of their way. Holy moly.
I'll be in the way.
I keep up with them here. Oh, I almost hooked him.
Jimmy right behind me. All right. Oh, he backed off. He's giving me a chance here.
Oh, they're keeping it close up there. All right, I see.
Yeah, they're still going to run me down while they're racing.
How much faster are those guys from you, Bubba?
They're probably about half a second.
Yeah, but I'm going to defend it. Fast lap. He's only 15 100ths off.
Yeah.
Logano, you got Blake Reynolds beat. Well, maybe not right there.
I got nothing beat. I got new car.
Hey, let me reset so we can go together. I get more when I'm on myself.
Yeah, all right. I'm in pit road here.
All right, so Joey, you talked about it. You talked about the feeling is different from the real world to iRacing, but just talk about the visuals, the track, the layout. Is there some value to just running laps, reminding yourself of just all the chaos of the ROVAL?
I think that's the biggest thing I take out of doing iRacing and stuff, especially going to a road course that we don't typically do a lot. It's nice to just kind of see the track, get a feel for it. And obviously, our braking points are a little different, and the car drives a lot different. But there's the visuals that we don't, want to get to see. Especially in today's world, we don't practice anymore. This is our practice. This is all we get. So it's just a different world now. So it does make this more valuable to have for sure.
Well, so you mentioned it, no practice. So Daniel, I know I follow you on social media. You're in the gym all the time. That's for your muscles, though. This is more hand-eye coordination and the actual, I don't know if I want to call it the skill set, but the hand to eyes to feet connection you have to have in the real world. Do you think this works those reflexes?
I think it definitely helps. I don't think it will hurt anything. I think that for what I have learned in the past is that you have to be smart when you use all kind of simulators. I mean, we have a couple $1 million simulator at Toyota, and even in those simulators, we can create bad habits. Like Joy said, the cars drive so different, and here you can overdrive the corners, you don't feel the bumps and stuff like that. So I feel like it definitely helps. It's a lot of fun, but we have to remember that it's still a game, and it's important just to do not create bad habits, because it's very important. It's very easy to just to have your marks here in the simulator, and then goes to the real race, and it's gonna be completely different. And over here you have a reset button, and on Sunday we won't have that one.
Well, you can overdrive it a lot here, and it doesn't hurt.
Exactly.
It doesn't physically hurt. I mean, it's nice.
Dude, like Daniel said, I'm at the top of the board. Come on, that's definitely a video game.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna carry that to Sunday?
I'm gonna try like hell, my friend. I mean, hey, we were pretty good. We picked up a lot of speed at Daytona from the start of the race to the end of the race. Oh, see, whenever you start talking, Parker, you just But I think any time you can kind of put the corners together, that's what I really use the Sims for. I've been using the one at RCR a little bit, and like Joey said, going to a road course that you're not typically familiar with, it's nice to be like, okay, this is how the corner after this one flows, stay to this side of the track, stay on that side of the track. Braking zones are somewhat close, but the feel is still, you can't dive too much into it, because, I mean, you know firsthand as well, it just how tricky it is. So, I mean, the baseline setup, it feels like I'm on ice skates, and I've never even been on ice skates in my life, so I can only imagine what that's like.
Well, listen, guys, 35 seconds left. Joey, we want to thank you. Congratulations on a good run so far in the playoffs. Hopefully you can continue it through at the ROVAL. Daniel, thank you for being on board. Congratulations, announcing your team for next year. Good momentum for you. Hope you could carry that momentum into 21. Bubba, the same. Congratulations, and congratulations on your new ride for 2021. Good storylines, everyone, and we really appreciate you taking the time tonight. This has been great for the fans.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Very cool. A lot of fun.
All right, guys, there you have it. Parker, there's the three pros. iRacing Happy Hour from ROVAL, refreshed by Coca-Cola. Bubba Wallace said if he's going to run that fast, he's going to practice some donuts for the fastest. Love it. Well, Parker, a virtual happy hour, a virtual practice, the second of the year. I got to do the first one, my friend Regan Smith. We covered the Daytona Road Course, a track that we had never seen before. We have seen the Roval. You have raced there, and now we have seen it on iRacing, virtual happy hour presented by Coca-Cola. Your thoughts?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked seeing them all race around and start to get. I liked the transition, right? So we had the competition for who was fastest. Bubba obviously sort of displayed the speed that he's got. I will say, out of those three, he's probably the most active iRacer. So he had a little bit of that advantage, having raced with him late into the nights many a times. I can attest to his ability in the iRacing world. But, I liked as we got later, they started racing, and then there's that little shade being thrown around, right? Hey, how are you going to replicate this real life? So I look forward to seeing Bubba Wallace take that speed, bringing it to Sunday. But overall, it's just fun for these guys to do this publicly, as we said at the beginning, because it's so cool to see them using these tools that everyone around the world can hop on and do themselves and experience the same exact thing that these drivers are experiencing and are using to get better for the real racing.
Well, you mentioned Sunday. The Cup Stars will be on track Sunday, but racing really starts on Saturday. Coverage starts at 3 o'clock on NBC for the Xfinity Series. A cut race for the Xfinity Series will whittle the 12 cars down to 8 as the playoffs continue, and then we'll move to Sunday. Coverage starts, you see right there, 2:30 p.m. The Cup cars at the ROVAL cut race for both Xfinity and the Cup cars, both on NBC. Great racing all weekend long from the ROVAL. Parker, man, I had a blast tonight. I appreciate your help. I know I can't keep up, but it's so much fun to cover. Let's go do some racing, shall we?
Yeah, we shall. Thank you, bud. I appreciate for having me. And looking forward to this weekend. And as we've harped a little bit here, man, throw out all this practice if it's raining. That's all I'm going to say. Throw it out.
Throw it all out. So we have the real-life stars on the track this weekend, the virtual stars on the track next Tuesday night for the eNASCAR Series. I'm your host, Steve Letarte, from my friend Parker Kligerman. This has been the iRacing Happy Hour, refreshed by Coca-Cola from the Charlotte ROVAL.